Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Biblical Britain. It's the 22nd of August 2022. Had a real quiet week this week, and within the last couple of hours, it's just come flooding in. I was worried that I wasn't even going to have enough to do a video, to be truthful, but this is how this whole thing works, and obviously I only get it when I get it. Right, something really amazing. I've got to run over a little bit that I did last time because you'll see now how this all ties together, and it's miraculous. There is no other word for it. I'm going to effectively there's a message in Taurus which obviously ties with all this, Canis major, Canis minor, and how this all connects to Orion, Grus, the crane. We're going to have a lot of constellations, but this is all starting to piece together and make sense. And as much as I don't want to be the bringer of, bad tidings or ill tidings, unfortunately, this just seems to be sort of heading this way. And I've got light on there. Let's see if I can get rid of that. I'm not sure if you can see that, but we'll amend it as we go. Right, on my last video, right, I decoded effectively this symbol. This is Solomon's seal. You'll find this coded seal, whatever it is, it's Solomon's seal, but it gives so much away. You'll find this on the side of Masonic lodges. I don't know how many, if it's on all of them, but it's certainly on them, and it's sort of engraved into the wall. It would have a circle around it, and there are a few other bits and pieces on this, smaller symbols, but obviously, well, I've not cracked all of them, but if the main part of this code, well, stands out like a sore thumb, to be honest. So bear with me while I'm going to go over a little bit what I did last time. Right, the first thing that you have to know is, right, the only difference when I did the decoding last week, I did them like this with the H on top. But what I realised is this. Well, I say realised. I don't know how to explain how this happens. But what I realised, and this is a symbol of Solomon as well, and there's a T on there with the three dots on it. Effectively, this is the Tau. Now, Tau in Hebrew is actually, well, they call it Tav, but it's known as Tau. Why, I don't know, but even that gives it away because that says at V. Now, the V is the code in David, which is ad V ID. You just switch the D and the A and split it up, basically. If you've been following this, and I hope you have, if you're new to it, this is probably not going to make a whole lot of sense, but there are two forts at play. One is called Lanmelin. It's the same as that, without the V, and that would be an L. Effectively, it's Llanmelin. And there's a secondary fort called, it's in a place called Caerwent, South Wales, but it was an alleged Roman fort, which it wasn't, but that's another story. And that was called, its given, so say, Roman name was Venta Siurum. Interestingly enough as well, Venta, I forgot about this one, is also phonetically enter V. Right, so not only have you got add VID, when you add it to Llanmelin, or Llanmelin, the key, this is a fort in the shape of a key. And when you actually line that key up, it actually points to the place not far from where, I'm actually in Corsham, a place called Corsham now, or I'm in Eastleigh's Corsham. Eastleigh's is an anagram of Yes Atlas. Corsham is an anagram of Marcos H. This key fort, actually when you line it up, points directly at the place called Corsham, Marcos H. Again, to go through it all, I'd be all day. but to get to this lamp, this melon, you've got Mini Tekel up fast in the hidden code in Daniel, which says unmap 10, seek melon here. Well, melon is in a tribe tent map. You get the 10 lost tribes, you decode them, and this fort is in the centre. You also get Melchizedek, which is C-Mel, seek HID. Again, it's to seek the HID, and there's a load of code that leads you to this ID in the H man again. Why? Well, clearly it's me. And why is wearing a crown? I leave you to work that out. But I don't want to make any claims, but I can only put out there what I'm given. Right, again, right. So first thing, so we've got C-M-E-L-I-N. So that's C-Melin. So that's your Melin, which is your fort clan Melin. In Welsh, it would be, this is one word, sorry. Okay, so Clan Melin. Right, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. No, this is all a codec, and effectively it's symbolic of 700. He's basically married 700 wives. It's not married wives, it's churches. He let them in basically, and I think it's sort of representative of 300 sort of associated with other religions and churches, whatever. But the bottom line is Coelin ap Caradog, King Solomon, a wise and just king he's recorded as. He made a mess and blew it, really. The Siluris, who were the Israels, which are the coded Israelites, take away the lies, Ra, and the cross. It leaves you with Is, and then you just add the Is rules, and those who followed his rule, which is why I have a H as well. Siluri, which is the local tribe that actually lived at both forts, basically. They lived in Lanmelin originally, the key fort, and then they moved down to where the real temple of Solomon is, in Caerwent, which has a padlock, basically, where the ark would have been kept. There's actually a padlock shape. Again, you'd have to go back on there, but it's built into the actual ruin itself. And it's all coded in the Masonic symbology with the pillars of the temple, which I've reconstructed on other videos, even giving you Joachim Boaz and how that decodes as well. Okay, so when we anagram these three tribes, which gives you, because this is an I, this I goes there, the Z should be there. So you got the C is the center point, basically in the middle. So it's C Melin, and then you fill in, it's a clan Mel, and then you add VID or enter V, whichever way, and you enter the V, and you get what you get is Clan Melvin. Now, as nuts as this is, and I admit it is crazy, and I've questioned this over and over and over, but I've got to the point where it cannot be wrong. There's just too much, and as you'll see, I'm about to even show you more, well, miracles with constellations, with messages in them, Taurus being the main one, which is going to tie up another constellation message and a map, a star map on the land with a ton of, well, clues, or I don't know what you want to call it, but with a message written into it. Okay, and like I say, how this all fits together, it's impossible to be coincidence, absolutely impossible. Okay, so what we got is I salute the angel, C the end, Genesis. Z is the final letter of the alphabet. Tav or Tau is also the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet, but it also represents, and this is written in the Old Testament and in the Hebrew works and where, that it's effectively completion of, I use the word gods, but Yah's works basically, or the completion of Yah's work. Obviously, and when you've got Siluri angel, the angel part, go back, well, you just have to watch the other videos to get the full grip of this, because I can't explain it completely in humanly terms, but the code says what it says. But it says Siluri angel, I being the Siluri angel, C end regenesis. Well, the end, because what we've got within this triangle, as you'll see on the other pillars code, is you've got this, my birth sign, which is Cancer, and what it creates is not only a picture of the original Temple of Solomon, or a symbolic picture of it. It also gives you a star map that you place on the ground, which gives you the Tetragrammaton, and it gives you a combined nations safe code, basically a safe zone for the end times. And obviously the sun. Well, like I say, I'll have to. I don't want to skip too far off this because it's going to get complicated. But if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, go back on the last video, because that one backs the one before that backed, and it keeps coming and coming and coming. Right. Okay. So what we're looking at is the and we've got the constellation Taurus. Now, when he says, right, there's a lock on the temple because Yah divorces, going back, he divorces the supposed Israelites, who are actually the coded Silurians, or the Israels. So he divorces them, he puts a lock on the temple, or a symbolic lock on the temple, and then he leaves a key on the fort, basically to be fixed as well. Again, check last video. And basically, everything keeps coming back to the same thing. And as I'm about to show you something so spectacular with this, because this just confirms something else I did that cannot, it's just impossible to be coincidence that all this fits. Now, the clan Melvin, for anyone that doesn't know, right. My father's name was Melvin, my grandfather's name was Melvin. In the traditional Welsh way of, it's your Rus name. Rus is Sir backwards. So you've got a surname, my surname would be Guy, but my Rus name would be Melvin, or Ap Melvin. Ap means son of. In Hebrew it's Ben, whatever, Ben, they say sort of so Ap David, or Ben David, sorry. The Welsh, or the correct way, or the Welsh way of doing it is I would be right. I'm not sure my grandfather's father's name. I've got a feeling it was Robert, but it would be Melvin Ap Robert. Then my father, whose name was Melvin, and his father's name being Melvin, would be Melvin Ap Melvin, and my name would be Marco Ap Melvin. Okay, when you go Jerusalem backwards with the G as well, it also says Mel A Sir, and then you add name and G, and then the last one being G. So it would be Mel, a surname G. So my name would be Marco Ap Melvin, and then Guy would be my surname, which is obviously the G part. Like I say, how this is all there. There's only one way it can be possible, and it was written in. And this is not me on an ego trip, because I can't get as hard as I try my hardest to not sort of like find a way that this cannot be possible, but I can't. It's just, no matter which way, where I go, and as I will show you now with the Taurus message, it's just mind blowing that all this fits together, and that I'm able to even find this. Okay, so I'm just going to pause you a second. So that's the background of this. So what we're looking at is the Tau, and I also asked. I've asked numerous. I asked after the last video, have I got this right? Yeah, because I really don't want to. Can you give me some sort of sign, or some sign that I really am doing this right, and I've got it right for you, and I'm not. I know I'm not making it fit. It's impossible to do it. Not with the amount of codes, but I got the answer in the most remarkable way. But I'll come to that as we go. Okay, I'll just pause you a second. Okay, folks, so right, Taurus. Again, not for the first time. I mean, there's message after message after message in these stars, and it's all about the word. This is why in the beginning was the word, and this whole thing, like I say, to anagram something is one thing, but to be able to actually have things that back it up, like these symbols, and and this one is absolutely phenomenal. Right. I think it's done to rerun the original one that I did, that you'll find going back through my videos, that I did one which this leads to now. Okay, so the initial message in Taurus the Bull, we take all the star names and then we anagram. By a miracle, it comes up with something, and it doesn't just come up with random words, it comes up with things that mean something. And as you'll see, the chances of this being coincidence are nil. Okay, so when I unscrabble it, it says, you ran Guyana map and Mel that I hid in. Bran a lead. Well, the first thing, the Bran a lead. Bran the Blessed is the father of Caradog, who is King David effectively, a Decoded. And Bran ruled from Lanmelin. So what it's doing now, the reason this will make sense now, because what we're going to do is go to Guyana, because there's a star map with all the clues written on into the land, a picture of it when you join all the place names up, as you'll see. Obviously I've run this before, but this again confirms something amazing, because right, Taurus, right, Tau is completion, obviously, or the end of this, there's the works, which is where this is all heading to, with the safe zone and everything else. Taurus, but which Rus is it? Okay, so you've obviously got J.E. Jerusalem in the Middle East, the fake, well, I can tell you it's a fake one, but the real G Rus is a star map in Guyana. Okay, so just take it, right, I'm going to have to scrub this just to, complete this, the star map and show you again. But as you'll see, there is no way that this could be coincidence, that you've got the Tau Rus, the completion at Rus, you've got all the Tau with the Melin, note the Melin and the G and everything else. And then we get the Taurus, which is the Tau Rus. You ran Guyana map, and Mel that I hid in. And this will make sense now. The Bran just confirms that the Mel is Melin, because that's where Bran the Blessed, King Bran the Blessed of Siluria, or his rules from. Okay, just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so we've got you ran Guyana map and Mel that I hid in. Bran a lead. Okay, so like I say, Bran is obviously the Mel part, just to show you that Lanmelin, this connects to Lanmelin, Bran the Blessed, he was the ruler of that particular, of the key fort. Okay, G Rus the Crane. Okay, now this is where the G Jerusalem comes in, because it's G Rus a Mel actually, so they've taken the Lem backwards, G Rus a Lem. If you reverse the Lem, it says Mel. And what they've done is they've carried over, they've moved from one day to the other. Caradog has built the city of David, or the divine identification. And basically he's kept the name Mel, but for some whatever reason he's reversed it. And obviously you've got G Rus instead of the J.E. Rus, of the pretend one, if you want to call it that, in the Middle East. Right, okay, and just to prove that point, like I say, this is the message in Taurus. So, right, well, if you laid this, right, if you had a map here on the ground, this would be, say, the top of South America, effectively. And what you've got is you've got Guyana City, then you've got the country Guyana, Suriname, Roraima, Amapa. Then you've got a place called Bemel, São Luís, and Fortaleza. Right, so coded into this, firstly, the 4 brightest stars in this constellation happen to be 2, 3, 5, and 4, which, as I've starred there, actually make and create one message. And this is found in Isaiah. I can't think of the actual passage, but if you type in surname into any Old Testament, Bible search, it'll come up with surname, and it says something about I surnamed you before you were born. Well, when you combine these up and you anagram these 4, which is the brightest stars, which give you the message, it says, and a guy. Surname I raw, I am a mapper. And as you can see, I'm using a star map and a ground map and combining the two, which gives you Grus. There's a lot more connected to this with other pictures that all connect and combine up, but again, to go through it all, this video would go on forever. Right, so these four are the brightest stars in the constellation because they're on countries as opposed to these are actual towns or cities, as you'll see. Right, the first one is Guyana City. Now you would think this would be the same as Guyana, but it isn't. Actually has an extra A. Well, this, when you anagram it, says a guy and a city. Well, the decoded Jerusalem, being Kyle-went, or what it was Roman name, or supposed Roman name is Ventus Ilurum, was basically, what was an ancient city. It held about 2,500 people, I think, or 2,500 to 3,000 people. I mean, this day and age, it's very small, and that would have been rather crowded. But either way, that's what that, you know, this is what they, you know, even this day and age, this is what they tell you that it would hold. And it must have been some site because the walls at max now are 20 feet, I think, in height. Is the highest wall that goes around the entire sort of what's now a village, but in its day they were 60 to 70 feet. It's recorded, you know, that's what it's down at. They tell you it was. So this was this is like a modern day castle, but an ancient city. So it really would have been one of the wonders of the world. And obviously, well, there's a good reason for it, and this is the real Jerusalem. Okay, now this the next one is so interesting, right? Because you've got you ran Guyana map. Well, this is the Guyana map, and Mel that I hid in, right? Well, as you can see, the number 6 is a place called B-Mel. Okay, so we take the B-Mel, but hidden just above it, unbelievably, there's a sort of let's call it 6A. There's a 6A, there's a little place, and unbelievably, it is called Marco. So when you attach it to that one, you get Marco B-Mel. Again, this is to do with the clan Melvin, and again, all linking up. And you can check this yourself. If you go to this place, B-Mel, which is either in Suriname, I think it is. It's one of well, it's just, if you go to the North American map and zoom in, you'll see it anyway. Zoom in real close, and just above B-Mel or Bemel or whatever it's called, you got the word. Well, you got my name, Marco. So not only a guy and a city, which is what this is all about, and a guy surname I am a mapper. My name is I am Guy. You surname me. And I sure am, well, I'm roaring like the Israel lion, I guess, the Siluri lion, that I am a mapper, which I am, and that is what I'm doing, and mapping from using the stars. Marco B-Mel. Okay. Number 7. So a Silu. This is an anagram, Louis, S-I-L-U, so a S-I-L-U. So a Silu. Silu, again, is the tribe, written in there, Siluri, you saw on the tail, Siluri angel, C end Genesis, and then you've got the then you've got the clan Melling coming down, and the H on top with the crown on it. Okay, number 8, the final one, Fortaleza. All you do is effectively just change the Z for an S. Seal a fort. Well, what better way to seal, well, effectively 2 forts, but they're both named in one in effect, but both make up the safe zone as well. Obviously, with the focus being on there's a G and a H, without getting into it, but it basically got Jerusalem and Lammelin, and one is a lock, one is a key. Again, you'll have to go back through my other videos if that makes no sense. but it clearly has all been put there. And he says, I show you things in ancient times, so when they come to pass, you know that I did it. This is Yah speaking in the Old Testament, and you'll know I did it. And there is no, and there is no, I am your God and Saviour. There is no other but me. So clearly there is nobody that can save you apart from him. So Jesus, I'm afraid, is the fake crane. He's the Egyptian crane. And this is all to do with worship of the false idol, or the false idol of Egypt, or false Egypt, which is American. It's written on the American dollar with the eye on the pyramid. And then it's called the dollar. You just switch the A and the R, and you get the Dol Ra, the idol Ra, the false idol Ra, which is modern day Egypt. The ancient Egypt would actually be Cornwall. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's been a big spell or a hex put on us. And what we believe to be Egypt is not actually the biblical Egypt. They just named the place. Well, again, I don't want to get into it too deeply because I've got enough to do with this. But as you can see, this is the message in Taurus. You ran Guyana map and Mel that I hid in. Well, Marco be Mel, so Marco, there's the place name, but hidden just behind it is the Marco. So the Marco be Mel. So that is the Mel that I hid in. Branna lead, again, this just confirms that this not only connects with Grus, which is Jerusalem. Again, you'd have to go back to work to see how I get to this, but it's Jerusalem, is Silurum. You just re-anagram it, it says Jerusalem. And then it just leads you down a path. It's written in Orion, it's written in the Orion's riddle. God, like I say, I could go on forever with this. But then you've got Alem, and if you actually read it backwards, it says Mel, A, Sir, then you put name and G. So if we do it, it'd be Sir. Oh no, it wouldn't. It would be. Oh, I can't even do it. You have to write name backwards, basically. So if you read it in reverse, it says Mel, A, surname, G, and all I've added is the word name, and you actually get a code even there, which is the G for the surname Mel, Melvin G. My father's name was Melvin Guy. He would be Melvin at Melvin Guy. My grandfather would be Melvin at Robert Guy, I believe, and I would be Marco at Melvin Guy. So as you can see, even that name even confirms that this all ties up. Never mind the fact you've got a guy in the city and a guy, surname Roy, I'm a mapper, Marco B. Mel, so Asilu, Seal Fort. Seal Fort, Grus, the constellation of the crane, Grus is the first part of Jerusalem, Mel would be the second part, and all the code that goes with it, and that ties with the brand because he ruled from Melin as well, and his son Caradog would have ruled at Melin as well, but then moved down obviously to Gwent once it was built. Once the city of David, of the divine identification, was built, because David, all of it is a codec. It's not the actual name of the person. Solomon is not the name of the person. It's all a codec, and I'll just let you stop there because we've got a lot more to show you yet. Bear with me. Okay, this one is right. This one, even though there are only 2 stars in this constellation, these are the 2 stars. This is one big decode because right. I don't even know where to start with this one. Right, the first thing, Canis Minor. Right, this connects with Canis Major, and Canis Major draws a line from Canis Major, from the Dog Star in Sirius, through Orion's belt, through Taurus, and into the Pleiades. Right, so these are all these. Right, even though this is a side one, it's a very important side one because it tends to tie up an awful lot. The anagram from Gomissa, or whatever, Gomissa Procyon, as you can see, is all I've done is I've changed, again, the Z and the S are just interchangeable. But what you have is Giza, Moon and Rope with the letter CY. Right, there's the reason for this. Right, the first thing, this one represents Orion. And the Giza pyramid is effectively the Giza pyramid. So this goes into your pyramid, which is your pyramid is an anagram of your map ID. So what you effectively got is AG is your map ID. Now this is the Giza pyramid. Well, not only has it got that, there's a message in the pyramids. Again, I'm not going to write all these up because I'm just never going to finish this video. But what you have is 3 pyramids. Cheops, the Great Pyramids of Giza, in Orion's belt. Written in Orion's riddle as well, it says, I take angel all in a belt. Well, when you take the 3 pyramid names, they are Cheops, Khufu, Cheops, Khafre, and Menekure. When you unscramble it, it says Marco, I won't write it all in, but it says keep Ankh. It says Marco, keep Ankh. You free H. Again, this is all to do with the secret H and the H man with the Melin H. Okay, so the reason I'm writing this one is because this is important. Because this is right. So the first Canis Minor in this line, these actually represent this set of star constellations. Moon is the Sol Moon, and this represents as well the Tau. Now, again, it's so hard to put all this in, but there's across the West Country. There's a picture of a dart. This is all to do with Job, the book of Job, and can't they take down Leviathan with a hook, which Leviathan is all drawn out as well on a map. But what you've got effectively is this dart, and this dart, along with a that's an awful drawing, along with this with a message, pinpoints the lock precisely that sits in the temple. I mean, this is ridiculously big, but the temple is this shape, and what you've got is this lock there, padlock in the middle. And just a quarter of a mile away, you've got the key, which is the other 4, which is Melin. So you've got Grus and Melin, a lock and a key. G and the H, basically, the G and the H man of Melin. So this dart, in fact, hits the bullseye. That's why it's there. And as crazy as that sounds, you have to understand that he created all this in place all in advance. So he is fully aware of what we see now to what they did then. So you've got a modern day dart hitting the lock and hitting the bullseye. Again, this is to do with the Tau. Okay, the bullseye is the dart hitting the lock. And the bullseye is actually Aldebaran as well in the constellation of Taurus, which is a Bran lead, basically, the same as the last the Taurus decode. Okay, but when written in the Boots constellation, it also says ID Rum's dart. And what he's referring to, or G-Rum's dart, I think it is G-Rum's dart. Well, G-Rum is just the sign you're missing out of it. You put the sign you in, and it's Jerusalem, which is the anagram Silurum, the original one the original name or decode that leads to Jerusalem. But what you've got is G-Rum. So all I do is use the letters Rum. I just re-anagram them, basically, and just put R-U-M. So what you've got is Cymru. So you've not only this represents the temple, this represents the pyramids, this is Orion, this is Taurus, and then the last one, there's basically a bow that goes, it's so difficult to put all this, but there's a bow that when you draw the safe zone, you get this. There's the pyramid. Well, this is the initial triangle, the opening triangle of the code of all the codes. Canaan, Egypt, Judea, or K-E-Y key. Then you get a bow, basically, it goes off that way, says I'm Welsh. But what you have is a combined nation safe code. Now, the Constellation of Cancer has 2 stars in the middle. This is not the scale. This goes up there, that goes there, and this goes there. There's a star, there's a star, those 2 are stars, and that one there. Now, in the Brutes constellation, it says to rerun the Acellus code. The rerun Sol map, Acellus Grus. What it is, these 2 stars, one is Grus and one is Lanmelli. Over top of it, you've also got the pyramid shape, which is the G is your map ID, which is effectively, when you put it in together, it gives you Mr. Guy, basically. That's the bottom line of it. It's just too complicated to go into, but it gives you a code for the Giza pyramid and unlocks this combined nation safe zone, Canaan, Egypt, and Judea, Holyhead, Swindon, and Exeter. So it's Egypt. You've also got Sikh, and then this is the Holyhead. Just say Y. You just that's phonetic. Just change it to Y and the H, and then you re-scrabble it, and it actually gives you the letters of the Tetragrammaton, which is what it's all downloaded from, which allowed me to basically put all this together. Because, like I say, I probably look mightily intelligent, but I can assure you I'm not, and I never. This only started a couple of years ago, and really it's only this year, really, that or last year, that this really took off, and all this started to come. Okay, the rope, right. There's a message, again, another message written into the Pleiades. Can you release the bands of Orion, and can you bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades? Well, there's stars in the Pleiades, a Merope, Sterope, and there's and when you take all of them, it basically gives you a full message saying something about my map, angel map identification, I think it is, and it says, he sets me a rope, get rope at, and the place on the ground is called, where this bow and arrow that shoots. There's a 3rd point here, which is a standing stone circle, and what you do, you arc to roost. There's a place called Carrow Hill. This bow fires off across the map where you put these coordinates in, and it hits a place called Mablethorpe on the coast, and that then gives you the answer to the Pleiades, because it leaves it open. It says he sets me a rope, I think it is, get rope at, and then the answer is written in the place that this points to, where you place the Pleiades on, and it says rope the Admiral H. Well, the place that it shoots from, the centre of the bow, is actually Lanmelin, is the key fort, or Mel, with the Mel H, where you find the H-man. Again, like I say, this all ties with the pyramid, with the Solomon's pillars. Use the earth and the map and the stars, and then you'd have to go back on the other videos, otherwise I'll be here all day with it. But okay, so we got the Pleiades. This being the Pleiades as well, because you place it there, because I'm not sure if that's the right spelling, but the letters are right. But what that says is please ID. And this ID, the sweet influences of the Pleiades. Again, all ties biblically. It ties with, like I say, obviously the Ark is in Mon. This is Monmouthshire, for anyone who doesn't know, the kingdom of Solomon, or Solomon's kingdom, and it's the area of the safe zone at the Tau, which is the completion of Yah's works. This means when it's all over, this is the place, and that's why this safe zone is there. In the place I said, you are not my people, I will not be your God. I will say I am your people, and I will be your God. That's what he actually says. So this is the place where this is going to happen, and that's why the safe zone is there. So when these times come, which I've given all these warnings, there's more to come on that. Well, this is the place to go, Monmouthshire. Right, what else is there? Please ID, the dart, the bullseye. Right, interestingly enough, right, do I do this on there? Right. As you see, you've got the Tau. And I said I'd asked and you've got all the code in it. I'll leave the code out, but you've got the Z, you've got the I, and you've got the message and the C, the mailing, whatever. Right, this is what I've been shown to do. Right, what we got this one with the yank. Right, so what we do is you draw, firstly you draw the yank. Okay, the H goes on top of the yank with the crown. Why, I don't know, the H man and the crown, but your guess, well, I'll leave it to your imagination, but I know where it's all going. Right, so what you have is the toe is like the clothing for the yank. So now what you have effectively is, I'm guessing, is what is Melchizedek, which is the original code of Sikh, Sikh HID. Now what makes this absolutely bizarre, as I said, I asked if I was doing this right, and the code that I got from this was, obviously we got one overlaying the other. There's your secret H, there's the crown. So you've got the toe and the yank, or the yank and the toe, whichever way. Well, what this actually says is, when you unscrabble it, is a thank you. So I'm guessing that he's thanking me for, well, sticking to my side of the bargain, you know, following his rule, giving up my Saturdays, giving up an awful lot, actually, everything, my business, you know, living in a caravan, which I am, you know, and I'm not complaining, because when this all takes place, you know, I'll be the happiest man alive if I've got people to come to this, well, to at least know where this area is. I just need this message to get out. And as you can see, I'm not making this up. This connects in every possible way. And if you think this, just go back over the other videos, because nothing I'm telling you is not backable. And it's not that I speak to angels or anything. I get downloads in my, I don't even know how to explain it, but it downloads, then I get triggers. This is all planned out before I was born, clearly. And I've been chosen to do it. Where this leaves, you know, well, we'll see when the time comes. But I do believe that we are, as you'll see, moving into those times. Okay. Right, I'll just pause you a second. Okay, folks, this one's an interesting one. Again, I don't want to be the bringer of bad tidings, but no, there is hope, because there is a safe zone. And this is the whole reason that I'm being shown all this, and why I gave up everything to do this and send this message out, because the chance of this all being coincidence, it's just impossible. And I don't need any convincing that we're heading towards some terrible times, and I think the world stage is sort of showing every sign of that. How long, I don't know, but either way, the messages are all over. Canis Major. Okay, the first thing to note, it's got a J in it. Well, J is a more recent addition to the alphabet, and there was no J. So what that should read is Canis Major. Interestingly enough, not far from where I live, it's a place called Mega as well. And that ties with Sodom and Gomorrah, as I'll show you in a second. Okay, so Canis Major is Canis Mega. Well, when you unscrabble it, again, it's an anagram, it says Marco Gaines. Well, Marco Gaines what? Right, the Sirius Mizram, well, they're all the name stars, basically. What you do again, you just jumble them back up and you take them out. But what you do, use the title to start this one off. So it says Marco Gaines. Then you've got HID. So the H identification is the H-man. The secret H-man is written as a spear. There's all sorts. I mean, I'm even in the place now, Eastlaine's Caution, which says, yes, Atlas, Marco's H. Like I say, I didn't know, you know, I've not tried to make this fit. It just does. And it doesn't matter which way I go. I unscrabbled the H before I had any inkling of what it actually meant. But either way, right, Marco Gaines, HID. Siluri, I'm a Siluri. Siluri, me and Sion, the 9th tribe of the lost tribes. All the tribes I talk about, like they're all obviously the decoded, which I've done as well. If you check back, you'll see all the decodes for them, and they all have some amazing messages in those, confirming everything I'm saying and everything I've said and like I say, you just could not make this fit. So market gains, HID, sign of rewards. Well, what does, well, it's, well, I've been called some things in my life. I work in security and doors and what have you, but I've never been called a radar before. But it says, notice the double Z as well, because this is not a good sign when you get these Zs. Assume I am a radar. As funny as that is, it's not really funny because it's just telling you that I'm the pre-warning, and what I'm warning is like the bear with the 3 ribs in its mouth prophecy. Again, it's, you know, it's all confirming that China attacking America. I'm afraid this is coming, people. There's no way that this, you could not create this. Okay, the greater dog. Ever wondered why Sirius is called the dog star? It's because it's right. The decoded King David is Caradoc ap Bran, or Caradoc son of Bran. Bran obviously is to do with the Melin, so is Dave. This is the decoded David. And what you've got is Caradoc dog star, Caradoc star basically. That's why it's called the dog star. Sirius is called the dog star. Caradoc star is I Rus. So Caradoc is I Rus. Rusilum, Jerusalem, and that's what the message in Syria, why they call it the dog star. But like I say, there's a warning in this. Marco gains HID. The HID is the key points of caution again. ID, but it's all to do with the safe zone being at, well, between Jerusalem and Landmelin basically, but Jerusalem in the main. And that, and when things go wrong, this is the place to head to. I have no doubt. You know, if I'm wrong, well, nobody can say I'm crazy, because if I to put all this together, I'm either a genius or I'm not a genius. I just happen to be chosen and blessed for whatever reason. Something I've obviously, it seems I agreed to before I got here. I have no memory of it. Don't talk to angels. It's all done through code. But this code gives me it in writing, and just gives me this wisdom which I asked for, and allows me to just within 8 days decode all everything I'm showing you practically, apart from the constellation of the crane. I did that before, but all the Taurus and the Ankh and everything, all of these star constellations are all from, well, in fact, the last, this one in Canis Minor, I got in the last, well, a few hours before I even did this video, just to put that in perspective. I asked for something more because I was worried a bit, because I didn't think the video was going to be very long. Now it's turned out to be quite long. Okay, now, just to show you the connection with this Mega as well. So we know this is something Mega. As I say, I did a decode for Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah is in Wales, and it gives you a triangulation. I did an early video showing this. There's a spear or a lance that comes down, and Mega is one of them, because in Wales you've got 3 places. And this is not how you get the Mega is not the actual place, but it gives you a triangulation and a pilgrim age. It's using places with the name Pil, but you'll have to go back and see that. But Horeb and Mega, these 3 places, that's in North Wales. Like I say, there's three of them, I think there is, but they spread around. Take your pick, and then Mega. But when you unscrabble this, it says be Sodom, Gomorrah. Obviously, it's not aiming at just this place. I mean, this last warning is the end on this one is everywhere bar this safe zone. That's what it amounts to, and people need to get this message really. And I can't do no more than put these videos out, and I hope you'll encourage this and share it, and hopefully get people to see this is no accident, and this really is, well, that there is really a creator. He's created a safe zone. He wants you to turn to him. His name's Yahweh. That's, he knows everything you've done. Just confess and just be honest and upfront with him and speak to him directly. That's the only advice I can give you. And then know where to go when the shizzy hits the fizzy, as they say. Okay, right, bear with me a second. Okay, folks, I'm just trying to give you, although this is so difficult, I mean, there's so much more than this that I could put into this, but just to show you how this all ties up and just the sort of message in it. You've got Draco the dragon. Draco's an instruction. It says do arc, just to show you there's another one. Somewhere around, right, this is your main line. You've got Canis Major, the Dog Star Sirius, through Orion's Belt, goes through the eye of the bull, actually, the bull's eye being Aldebaran, led a Bran, or a Bran lead, and then goes on to Pleiades. Again, that tells you to ID the rope, the melon, the key in the rope. Then you've got the Taurus, which also does the southern constellation of Grus the crane, which ties up the Grus crane and the lock being in Grus in Solomon's temple, or the only temple. These are the two pillars of the Masonic pillars. That's the lock on the temple. The arch has got the Cancer constellation. This is a globe or a map. This is a star map. This is a grain map. And then what you do is use the constellation of Cancer. That gives you your oh dear me, that's awful. That gives you your hang on, that looks totally right. Let's try that again. So this is your two stars there. These are your two forts. One is your G, one is your H. This is your lock and key. This is your YHWH. That's what that should have been. Which is your Udia Holy Head. You've got your constant. This one's Swindon or Canaan, Swindon, Canaan. This is Egypt, Judea, Cornwall, Exeter. Whichever way you do it. Joachim Boaz, or it should be Joachim Boaz. See him as a boy. I was literally inserted into this world at the root of the matrix, straight into the house that's 30 foot from this lock on the actual real Temple of Solomon. You've got Orion's Belt. This gives you the Pharaoh's secret code. AG is your map ID. But then going into it, it comes to Gymru, Mr. Guy. Gymru is obviously the not so known Welsh name for Wales. As you come into Wales, it says, well, Crossio Gymru, which is G. Again, this is what the G is for Jerusalem, it's for Gymru, it's for the Gold Testament, and it's in the county of Gwent as well, which is G Went. There's so much more I could go into. The Draco the dragon. Draco is an instruction for the little dragon. I was born in Wales, basically. I'm not the dragon. It's not Satan, but I've been born into the land of the dragon. And it says Duart. Duart what? Duart Monoceros. Monoceros is is known as the unicorn Mon. This is the biblical unicorn. When you are Monoceros and re-scrabble it, it says So Marco Recon. The Solomon code says, when you go through the centre of it, it says Recon G. Obviously, Recon the G, found G Roosh, found all the G's I've just explained. The real unicorn is not a horse, it's actually narwhal whales. They're unicorn whales. You can find these, but when you unscrabble that, it says Warnall Wales. It's short of an L, but there's an L, I think it's in Colburn. In the word Colburn, it says Recon L, I think, or it's written one of them, I can't remember. Same as Taurus as well. You get the Taurus out of the code for the Seal of Melchizedek, which is the octagram. The octagram says, when you unscrabble octagram, which is an 8-pointed star, it says Marco G at. Then you get the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just put G U S A L. I've messed this up. Hold on. It's definitely 8 points, so bear with me. I'm getting tired now. Let's try it again. G. Grus. Now. And then do it backwards now. G. Grus. M. It's also 8 points of the star, gives you 8 letters, your H. Brit is H, Covenant is H, Marco G at. If you use the original code, you get, if you put Marco G at Jerusalem, which is the original decode that led to Jerusalem, you get Marco I'm G, Marco G, Taurus L. Taurus L goes into Joseph, the tribe of Joseph, which is the bull again. Joseph is represented by the bull. The L goes into Yosef, and it makes it yourself. The tribe of yourself is also the Marco Manoi tribe. They're the exiled tribe. Marco Manoi, that should be one word, but they're called the Marco Manoi tribe. They're found in Germany. They've been scrubbed off, but you'll find them. Boothwell says it's it Welsh bull, and again, you'd have to go back over the other codes, but as you can see, all of this just completely fits together. This is not impossible to be a coincidence. There's no way on earth that I would have created any of this without being led. Simple as that. The creator is very real. His name's Yahweh. And all I can plead with you to do is to get this message out there, share these videos, get people to take note. I mean, at least try your best. That's all I can do. I haven't got a massive amount of subscribers. Whether I'll get a lot more, I don't know. But I can only put this information out there. But I really do know that there's no way that this is coincidence. There's just way too much. But on that note, I will call it a night. I'm getting quite tired now, and I've got vans coming in shortly. But I thank you for watching, and I thank you to all those people who put lovely messages on there. And I have no hard feelings to anyone who puts anything negative, but you know, at the end of the day, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it, as they say. Anyway, Yah's blessings till next time, and good night, folks.